Hello, everyone out there in YouTube land. Welcome back to Diego Knows. I, of course, am Diego. And today we're going to continue to talk about Breakfast at Tiffany's. That's right, Breakfast at Tiffany's. That piece of crap movie from 1961. My God, that was a long time ago. Does anyone even give a shit? Of course they do. Okay, this is like the gold mine of rom-coms. Okay, this is like the one that so many others are based on. Okay, this is like the birth of the modern day rom-com, was this fucking piece of shit movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. And I'm sorry, I have seen it before, and obviously I'm reviewing it, but you know, I don't get what the fucking big deal was. I really don't. It was just it was just another fucking gay rom-com fucking shit, the usual shit that we get every fucking day on fucking Netflix and Hulu. There's just no fucking difference, okay? It's basically Sex and the City. That's all it is. It's just Sex and the City is just fucking Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's the same shit. They even go to the same stores, the same clothes, same neighborhood, same fucking everything. Gay best friend, all that kind of shit. It's fucking there, you know? Anyway. Apparently, you women like it a lot. Okay, this is one of your favorite rom-coms. I know. I can tell. I've been hearing about this movie my entire fucking life. All right, from my stepmom, my aunts, nieces, cousins. They've all told me about this fucking movie. Okay, I actually did not see this movie until I think I was probably 32 or 33 years old the first time I saw this movie, okay? So it's been out for a long time. I heard about it, but I really had no interest in it. I didn't understand what the big deal was about it. Then I finally saw the movie, and I gotta admit, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad. I call it a piece of shit just because it's a typical rom-com, and it follows all those tropes, okay? There's other reasons it's a piece of shit. But just because it's the typical fucking Cinderella story that we've already seen so many times. Now, I get it, maybe in 1961 it was more nuanced, it was more avant-garde, you could say. But we've seen this. We've seen this story played out so many fucking times. And in a lot of cases better than this one, okay? But I understand this is an older story. It was written by Truman Capote back in 1958. He was a gay guy, writer, he wrote it for Marilyn Monroe. He sold the rights to it. Obviously, they did not cast Marilyn Monroe. They casted Audrey Hepburn instead. Okay, now she was already a star, Audrey Hepburn. She'd already won a Golden Globe, an Academy Award, and a BAFTA Award in 1953 for her first premiere movie, Roman Holiday. Okay, and that one was with I can't remember his name right now, but Gregory Peck, sorry, it was with Gregory Peck. All right, Roman Holiday, okay? I never saw that movie either, but I guess she was a princess or some shit in disguise, whatever. Hey, who gives a shit? Anyway, she won an award for that, okay? And that's what made her a movie star. So she started fucking working, in Hollywood and stuff, okay? Now, what I want to do in this video here, obviously I'm going to review Breakfast today. I want to give you a little bit of background about some of the people that are involved in this movie, okay? Specifically, let's go into Audrey Hepburn, okay? Now, before I continue, I just want you to know what I do here is I give you a straight man's point of view. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you the way I would talk to anybody about this. I'm not going to pull any punches. Okay, I'm going to tell you, honest to God, what a straight man thinks about this fucking shit that we're watching today here. This Breakfast at fucking Tiffany's. Okay, obviously a gay guy wrote it, so that should fucking tell you something right there. It's basically Sex and the City, and I've already reviewed every fucking episode of Sex and the City. Okay, it's just a fucking gay bar. Okay, it's just girls hanging out at a fucking gay bar. That's what this fucking movie was. Okay, I was surrounded by pinkness the whole time I was fucking watching this shit. Okay, now the movie does succeed in some places. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna tell you the whole movie is a piece of shit. It's not. There's some good stuff in there. There really is. Okay, I'm in the process of reading the short story right now because obviously I never fucking got around to reading the short story. Now, why did I not get around to read the story? Because I'm not a fucking gay. That's why. Okay, but I'm reading it now for this. Okay, I'm kind of comparing the book between the short story and the movie. Okay. All right, so I don't pull any punches here. Okay, so if you're easily offended, get the fuck out of here right now. I will not censor myself for you. Okay, I'm gonna give you a straight up fucking dose of truth, baby, with no lube. No lube. Can you handle it? I don't think you can. I don't think you can. All right, we'll find out. Okay, so let's move along here, okay? So Audrey Hepburn, let's talk about her, okay? Audrey Hepburn was born in 1939. All right, was it 1939? Yes. 1939. What do you call it here? Blah, blah, blah. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So in 1939, she won an Oscar. She was born actually in Belgium. She was Belgium. Her mom was a baroness. Yeah, a baroness. She was educated in London and she was also educated in the Netherlands. She lived there too. Okay. Now, when the Nazis, she was also studied to be a ballet dancer. Okay. She went to a lot of ballet schools. Her family was wealthy. Yes, she grew. Like I said, her mom was a fucking baroness. Okay. And her dad was some fucking lord of some shit. Who gives a fuck? Anyway, nobody cares about her dad. They only care about her mom. Okay, so anyway, so she grew up in the Netherlands, okay, and in London. She was educated in London, and then her mom brought her back because she divorced her dad. Her mom brought her back. They were living in the Netherlands, and that's where they were living in the Netherlands when the Nazis invaded in World War II. Okay, so she joined. She became a volunteer nurse. She had to put her ballet career on hold. Okay, she was trained as a ballet dancer, and she had to put her career on hold. She had to help out with the resistance. She did. Her and her mom, they hid soldiers in their barn and stuff. And because of the war, they lost all their fortune. They lost all their fortune. So after the war ended, they also faced starvation. Sorry, they faced starvation during the war. Okay, that's probably why Audrey Hepburn never really developed much of an appetite. As you can tell, she looks like a concentration camp survivor, even like in the 50s. Okay, like she never got her appetite back. Okay, I should be laughing at that. Okay, but you can tell. I mean, she's not. Audrey Hepburn, let's face it, she's a pretty girl, but she is not a sexy girl. She is not, okay? She's built like a fucking 13-year-old boy. Okay, she has the body of a 13-year-old boy. I'm sorry, I'm gonna call it out right now, okay? I do not find Audrey Hepburn very attractive. She's got a pretty face, but that's it. Okay, that's it. Okay, she is average looking at best. Okay, and I know you women love her to death, and a lot of gay guys love her to death. Okay, because of her style, because of her attitude, the way she carries her body language is pretty much on point. Like I said, she was a trained dancer. Okay, so her body language is always on point. She stands up straight, she moves very elegantly, but she has no fucking body to speak of. Okay, she's fucking skinny as fuck, man. Someone needs to give her a fucking cheeseburger. And I'm sorry, I don't find that attractive. Now, I don't like heavy girls either. Okay, but God, this girl's skin and bones, man. This is nothing. There's no meat on her anywhere. You got to have some curves, okay? They had plenty of girls that looked really sexy back in the day. Look at Jane Mansfield was from that era. Okay, so was Marilyn Monroe. Obviously, this movie was written for her, okay? Marilyn Monroe was sexy, and it wasn't just her looks, it was her attitude, the way she carried herself. She was very feminine. Now, Audrey Hepburn's very feminine too, but she's not, she's pretty. She's cute. She's not sexy. Okay, she's not sexy. And for a woman who's playing a fucking prostitute, she needs to be sexy, okay? She's not. She's pretty. She's pretty, okay? But unfortunately, pretty girls are a dime a dozen. Anybody can get pretty, okay? The girl that works at your fucking drugstore is pretty, okay? The clerk at fucking Tiffany's is pretty, okay? But if you're a fucking sex worker, you gotta bring something more than just that. Every girl brings that pretty much, all right? And Audrey, she just doesn't, okay? But I'll get to that later as to why her appeal, why she's so beloved by mostly female audiences and gay audiences as well, okay? So anyway, yeah, so that's going on here. Okay, now to talk about a little bit more about Audrey Hepburn. Okay, like I said, she wasn't occupied the Netherlands when it was occupied by the Germans. When she got out of there, she started doing some acting. Okay, she never really did get her health back all the way because, you know, like I said, she was starving during the war. Okay, so she gave up on dancing. She got into acting. Okay, like I said, she was trained in London and stuff, and she started doing plays. Okay, so she worked on a play with David Niven, and they were touring in America. I don't remember the name of it, but it was in 1951, and she was in her hotel. Okay, David Niven, the famous actor, okay, he'd been around since the 30s. You all know who David Niven is. Okay, he's a famous actor from the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. Okay, he was in the original Pink Panther, another Blake Edwards movie. He played the jewel thief that was romancing Inspector Clouseau's wife. Yeah, and Robert Wagner was doing it too. Whatever. Anyway, so David Niven, he was a big cunt hound. But anyway, he was staying at the same hotel because they were in the same play together. Okay, and one night in 1951, Audrey Hepburn, she was a teenager at the time, 19, 18, something like that. And she was in her room getting undressed, okay? And when she looked over out the window, she saw a human body fall from a higher floor and bounce off of her balcony. And she saw that. She saw a human man fall down, slam against her balcony, and then fall off. And she screamed. She ran out the window and looked down, and there was a man dead on the pavement, on the sidewalk, about another 13 floors down, okay? She had witnessed his suicide. Okay, this guy threw himself from the top of the building. Yeah, that happened. That actually happened in 1951. Watching that happen just shook her so bad that she ran out of her room and knocked on the nearest door to tell what happened. Of course, that room was David Niven, the actor. So he consoled her, okay? Yeah, Yeah, he did. He's old enough to be her dad. But yeah, he consoled her. Okay, and that she started a relationship with him. Okay, now Audrey Hepburn was known to fuck a lot of her co-stars. Okay, she did. Okay, lots of actresses did that. Okay, they're still doing. A lot of actresses are still doing that. Okay, they got their own notch belts that they want to pick off. Audrey Hepburn was definitely one of them. So was Katharine Hepburn. So was Marilyn Monroe. So was Jane Mansfield. So it's like, yeah. They're known for sleeping with their co-stars, all right? And Audrey Hepburn was one of those. So she did have kind of a reputation for sleeping with her co-stars, all right? But this was a play, okay? And then finally, she got in the movies, and her first movie, her breakout role, was Roman Holiday in 1953, where she won those 3 awards, Academy Award, she won a Golden Globe, and she won a BAFTA Award. And that's pretty much what put her on the map. So she was already known, she's already out there, okay? Now, when they bought the rights to this movie, and they bought the rights to the book, like I said before in the last video, they wanted Marilyn Monroe to play this role, but unfortunately, at the time, you know, the movie came out in 1961, so they filmed it in 1960, okay? Marilyn was 2 years away from dying. Okay, at that time when they were filming this movie, Marilyn Monroe was a fucking basket case. Okay, she was hooked on drugs. She could not remember her lines. She was not dependable. Okay, they already fired her from a fucking movie she was doing, Dean Martin, because she wasn't showing up on the set. Okay, she was kind of like boycotting the studio and shit. So she was a big fucking pain in the ass. Okay, her career was not doing very well. She was trying to reestablish it, but she was too fucking hooked up on drugs, and she was too busy fucking the Kennedys. Yeah, the Kennedy brothers, and whatever other mobsters and fucking people that she was fucking, and Joe DiMaggio, who had already divorced her. So yeah, she was busy getting fucked and getting fucked up. Okay, so she was not reliable. Her reputation had pretty much been soured. If Marilyn Monroe had not died when she did, okay, her career would have gone to shit. We would have watched her career just crash and burn spectacularly, okay? And that's what she would have been remembered for. But because she died when she was still in her 30s, you know, and she hadn't quite hit bottom yet professionally, okay, we remember her as this glamour girl that had everything and died. Well, she was actually on her way down when she died in more ways than one. Her career was fucking on the way out right before she died. So but because she died when she did, she's been immortalized forever as the young, beautiful 20-something girl from the 7-year itch, you know. So of course, okay. So she was in no position to fucking take this role and give a professional performance, despite the fact that Truman Capote was her friend, one of her best friends, and he wrote it for her. So they actually shopped it around. They offered it to Shirley MacLaine, but she didn't want to do it. She had a commitment for another movie. Okay, they offered it to several other people. They even offered it to Julie Andrews. Okay, Julia, yeah, The Sound of Music, Miss Van Trapp. Can you imagine that going from Mary Poppins to fucking prostitute? How do you do that? You gotta ask Donna Reed. Donna Reed actually did that. Yeah, she did. The Donna Reed show. Yeah, Donna Reed actually did that. She was known for playing, she was fucking George Bailey's wife in It's a Wonderful Life, and she was a fucking hooker in From Here to Eternity. Talk about range. Anyway, so nobody wanted to do it. Audrey Hepburn decided she would do it. Okay. What do you call it? So she decided that she would do it, but she didn't want the director that they hired. Okay, some guy named John Frankenheimer, he was kind of an unknown. They wanted to hire him because he was actually faithful to the book. He was faithful to the story. He wanted it to be about the gay guy who befriends this call girl and stuff, and their misadventures or whatever. So that's what he wrote. That's actually the script that he wrote. But the studio did not like it. This was the era of the Hays Code. Okay, for those of you who don't know, the Hays Code basically censored everything in Hollywood. That's why, like, if you look at the old movies, they never talk about gay relationships. They never cheat on their husbands or their wives. Okay, none of that stuff ever happens. They never abuse children. And the reason that doesn't happen is because the Hays Code prevented that stuff from being allowed in movies. Okay, and if the Hays Code does not approve of it, then that movie was not going to get a wide release. No one was going to see it. Okay, and so obviously they couldn't have a gay couple. They couldn't have a gay sex. They couldn't even mention that shit there. So they had to find like subtle ways to kind of sneak that message in there without actually sneaking it in there. All right, and then this movie was no different than that. All right, so what do you call it? So that's going on here, and she got cast in the movie. She decided she got rid of that director. Okay, they wanted a guy who had more of a reputation. So they got Blake Edwards. Okay, Blake Edwards, like I said in the last video, he was known for all those Pink Panther movies. He also did a lot of other shit. Even like in the modern era, he did that movie Switch, which I talked about. That's where some guy turns into Ellen Barkin. You know, yeah, he's a man trapped in a woman's body. Yeah. How would that go over in 2023? Yeah, that's pretty much there. Okay, he did all the Pink Panther movies, like I said. He did The Days of Wine and Roses, a great movie about alcoholism, in 1962 with Jack Lemmon and Lee Remick. He also did Victor Victoria with his wife, Julie Andrews, where she played a dude. In that movie, I guess it was a musical. I don't know. I didn't fucking see it because I'm not fucking gay. Okay, but yeah. Anyway, so there was a lot of stuff going on there. All right, and so he was hired as a director, and like I said, he was Julie Andrews' real life husband. Okay, her second husband. Okay, and they were together until 2010 when he died. Okay. So that's going on here. Like I mentioned before, the soundtrack of the movie did win. That was the only Academy Award it won. It was nominated for 5 different Academy Awards. It won one Best Music, okay? Henry Mancini's Moon River. Now, Henry Mancini had a long relationship with Blake Edwards. He actually did the Pink Panther song. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Yeah, that's Henry Mancini, okay? So he had a long, illustrious career in Hollywood. Okay, so he did Moon River. Obviously, that was a big fucking hit. His favorite rendition was Audrey Hepburn. He was on the record saying Audrey Hepburn sang his song the best out of all the different people that sang that song. Okay, now as far as that, Audrey Hepburn goes, she was born in 1929 in Belgium. Okay, May 4th, 1929. Okay, yeah, so like I said, she grew up over there, okay, and then she moved to the Netherlands, then she moved to London, okay. She was part of the Dutch resistance during World War II, like I said before. She faced starvation. They tried to help out as best they could against the fucking Nazis that had taken over. However, now here's something you probably need to understand here about Audrey Hepburn, okay, is her parents were Nazi sympathizers. A lot of people do not know that, but her mom adored Adolf Hitler and thought that he was the best thing to happen to fucking Europe, okay, to Eastern Europe. Yes, I'm not making that up, okay. Audrey Hepburn's mom was a Nazi sympathizer, and so was her dad. They were Nazi sympathizers. They felt bad for the German people, and the reason they did was because you got to remember this was the Second World War. The First World War, even though it was started by the Austro-Hungarian Empire, okay, it was finished with by the Germans, okay, and they blamed the Allies. The Allied powers blamed everything on the Germans. Okay, they blamed everything on the Germans. Okay, the Germans had to pay it's a ridiculous amount of reparations. Okay, at the Treaty of Versailles. Okay, and there's just no way they could do it. Okay, they had to take out loans just to rebuild their country. So who was their biggest bank? Was America. But unfortunately, in 1929, America went broke. So now they had no fucking money, and inflation just skyrocketed. Okay, and the people in Germany were fucking starving to death. They were fucking dying over there. And the only people in Germany that had any money were Jewish people because they owned all the banks. Okay, so eventually it got to the point where the German people got tired of seeing all these Jewish people walking around with money. Okay, they decided just to fucking take it all over. Okay, it was that sense of loss, that sense of fucking let's rebuild our empire to as great as it used to be is what put someone like Hitler in charge. Okay, this sense of fucking wanting to be important again, wanting to rise up from the ashes, you know, like a phoenix, you know, and become great again, become a superpower again. And it was this, and plus you got to remember the only people in this country that had money were the Jews. So Hitler decided to take all of it. Okay, well, you can understand, if you look at it from that way, you can understand why Hitler did what he did. I'm not making an excuse for it. Hitler's a piece of shit. He was a horrible man, absolutely horrible. Okay, you can never justify genocide, and there's no fucking justification for genocide ever. One human life is precious. You can't do what he did. Okay, but if you look at it from their point of view, you can see how they were seduced into believing that they were the ones in the rights. Okay, and Audrey Hepburn's parents were like that too. They totally believed in Hitler until they got invaded. Because you got to remember, nobody knew Hitler was going to invade. He told during the summit that they had with Chamberlain, that was the old prime minister. This is the summit that got Chamberlain fired. Actually, is in Danzig. They were when they invaded. They were going to they were supposed to like settle on something. And okay, we're going to pull back. Fine. And of course, Hitler did not pull back. He broke his word and he invaded. And then he invaded fucking England too. He took France, and then he tried to take England, but England was too fucking tough, and then we showed up at the end. But anyway, this is not a World War II history lesson here. But, okay, yes, Audrey Hepburn was part of the resistance, okay, and her parents were Nazi sympathizers. All right, moving right along about her, okay, Audrey Hepburn was married twice. Okay, her first husband was a guy named Mel Ferrer. Okay, now she actually met him. He was a friend. He was an actor too. Okay, not as famous as her. He was a friend of Gregory Peck. So after they did Roman Holiday, he introduced her to Mel Ferrer, another actor. They actually worked in a couple of movies together. War and Peace. They were in War and Peace together, her and her husband. Okay, and they got married in 1954. Then they divorced in 1968. But it doesn't really fucking matter because she cheated on him with fucking all of her co-stars anyway. So it didn't fucking matter. They were married, but they weren't really married. Well, they were, but apparently she was not happy, so she had a lot of affairs. And apparently he did too, so they were always cheating on each other. Like I said, she was known to fuck her co-stars despite the fact that she was married, okay? And she did. She fucked a lot of her co-stars, okay? Like I said, David Niven was another one, okay? You know, she also hooked up with Peter O'Toole. They did a movie together called How to Steal a Million. Okay, Peter O'Toole, yeah, Lawrence of Arabia, yeah, she fucked him too behind her husband's back. In fact, there was even some controversy as to her first child, whether or not it was Peter O'Toole's child or if it was her husband Mel Ferrer's child. Nobody knows. They had no DNA test back then. Anyway, it's not funny, but you know, whatever. Okay, and of course, everyone knows that she fucked William Holden, her other co-star, in 1954 for Sabrina. Okay, now. Just for the record, Humphrey Bogart was also in that movie, and Humphrey Bogart and William Holden did not like each other at all, okay, because of the pay. Humphrey Bogart was getting a lot more money than William Holden was. Okay, so anyway, so there's that. All right, so of course, because of all the affairs, okay, and apparently he was abusive, but every woman says that. Like their husband is abusive, okay? Even if they never get hit or anything, they always say, he's abusive, yeah. If he looks at you hurt too long, he's abusive, all right? So anyway, so she divorced his ass. She divorced Mel Ferrer's ass, okay? And then she got married again in 1969 to some guy named Andre Dottie, who was a businessman. He was not an actor, okay? But she fucked around on him too. She was married to him from 1969 to 1982. She had numerous affairs while she was married to him as well. One of the biggest affairs she had was with Ben Gazzara. Okay, now most of you do not know who the fuck Ben Gazzara is, and I don't blame you. I didn't know who he was either. But if you guys that are out there, if you've ever seen Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze, okay, Ben Gazzara was Brad Wesley, that old man, you know, the guy that's, you know, the bad guy from Roadhouse, you know. I've killed everything in the world, Dalton. The only thing missing is your ass. Yeah, that's Ben Gazzara. Okay, he's been in a lot of shit. He's got a long career. But yeah, he was fucking Audrey Hepburn as well. They did a movie together in 1979 called Bloodlines, and he was banging her the whole time they were making that movie. So let's just say that Audrey Hepburn was not the most faithful wife to be married to. Okay. Now, Holly Golightly, okay, she plays this character named Holly Golightly. I mean, Hollywood Golightly, get it? Okay, it's Truman Capote. He likes to play names he likes to play games with the names. Okay, now Holly Golightly, let's talk about her for a minute. Okay, that's her character. That's Audrey Hepburn's character. She's very neurotic. She's a neurotic woman. Okay, she gets what she calls the mean reds in the movie. Okay, those are her spells that you could say that she has, where she's basically bipolar, but there was no diagnosis for that back then. So she goes from being super happy and giddy to being super depressed and sad. Okay, and she drinks a fucking lot. When she's happy, when she's sad, she drinks a fucking lot. Okay. She's very fearful of a lot of things in life, so she hides it very well, okay? And she tells Paul in the movie, that the only thing that makes her feel good when she gets the mean reds is to go to Tiffany's. Okay, is to go to Tiffany's. That makes her feel good. Okay, so obviously she's a shopaholic, but with no fucking money. Okay, so basically Tiffany's in the movie, Tiffany's is not so much of a place; it's a state of mind. Okay, it's this place that she created in her imagination that gives her warm feelings. It's very neurocentric. Okay, when she thinks about Tiffany's, she starts feeling better. Okay, when she goes to Tiffany's, she feels incredible. Okay, it's just linguistics. Okay, it's just a basic neurotic fascination with being in a place like Tiffany's. She's not talking about the store. She's talking about the whole culture around Tiffany's and how that makes her feel. It's a very rich store. You gotta have money to go there. I know. I've shopped at Tiffany's. It's fucking expensive as fuck. I like the little fucking aquamarine boxes they give you, but whatever. Anyway, so it's a state of mind for her. So her heaven is basically Tiffany's. Okay, being able there. Now she's broke. Okay, despite the fact that she's a gold digger, she is very broke, okay? So her idea of Tiffany's, the very first scene that we see of her in the movie, she's getting out of a cab and she walks in front of a Tiffany store department. She's got a croissant in one hand and a coffee in the other. And she's standing in a black dress, which looks very expensive, and a shitload of fucking pearls and a fucking thing on her head. I don't know what the fuck it's called because I'm not fucking gay, okay? And her big fucking sunglasses, and she's just staring at fucking jewelry at Tiffany's. She looks like she belongs there because of the expensive clothes that she's wearing. She looks like she's a patron there. Okay, but the truth is that it's an illusion. It's a fantasy. She wants to belong there. She wants to be there, so she makes herself look like she belongs in Tiffany's. That's her identity. She wants to be Tiffany's. She wants to be the kind of person that can go into Tiffany's and buy whatever they want, but you gotta be a special type of person to be able to do that, and she wants to be that, so she pretends to be that. Okay, that's her idea of happiness, is this fantasy world that she is a part of Tiffany's. Okay, the whole culture around Tiffany's, that's who she is. That's who she wants to be because she grew up as a redneck white trash girl. Okay, so this is her idea of happiness. Okay, is the kind of lavish lifestyle that she didn't have. Okay, she's close to getting it, but she's never going to get it because she's fucked up in the head. Yeah, I know, but we'll get to that. Okay, so yeah, so she calls it the mean reds when she gets depressed, okay? When she gets angry and shit, okay? She tells Paul in the movie that if she ever finds a real life place, okay, that makes her feel like Tiffany's does, then she will fucking buy some furniture and give the cat a name. And now what she means by that is that her apartment is a fucking shithole. It's got the bare, but she got no furniture actually in her apartment. Nothing on the mantels, nothing there, nothing in the kitchen. You know, you can't see shit there. She got a little fucking sofa comforter thing on the floor that she sits on. She got a box full of bullshit. She keeps the phone in a box, you know, because she doesn't want to fucking hear it. She's got magazines and shit. She drinks fucking milk out of a fucking champagne glass. She's got a cat. The cat does not have a name. She does not want to give the cat a name because she does not own it. She doesn't fucking eat shit. She's skinny as fuck. She looks like a concentration camp survivor, honestly. Okay? But she knows how to seduce, okay? Despite the fact that she's only slightly above average looking, because let's face it, ladies, she is. Okay, I know you ladies love her because of her fashion sense. She wears those big goddamn fucking satellite dishes on her head and shit in this movie, you know, and I know y'all love that stuff, okay, because it's expensive, but it looks fucking stupid. Hence fucking Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City. Okay, I get it. But to me, a straight guy is just fucking stupid. She looks like a fucking clown, but okay, whatever. You girls like that shit. Just remember, okay, with all you ladies out there that blame men for fucking having to look good all the time, let me tell you something, okay? The fashion industry is controlled by two people, old women and gay men, okay? Straight men have nothing to do with the fucking fashion industry, okay? So don't fucking give me this shit that we make you dress like that. We don't. You make yourselves dress like that, okay? Point the blame the other direction. All right, anyway, moving right along. So, of course, she's a part of that culture, and she wants to be especially a part of that ritzy socialite culture that she has. Luckily, she knows how to flirt with men. She's very sociable. She knows how to talk to people. She can be the life of the party. You know, she's very distant, okay? And she knows how to manipulate men. I will give her that. Her character, Holly Golightly, knows how to manipulate men. I got to give her props on that, okay? Because Audrey Hepburn, I don't know if she can do it in real life. She probably could because she fucked a lot of guys. But there is a way, ladies, to manipulate men, just like there's a way to get guys to fucking manipulate women to get them in bed. Okay, there's ways for women to get guys to fuck them too. Okay, high value men, because you don't have to seduce a fucking low value man. All right, he'll just but a high value man, you must seduce him, otherwise another girl will seduce him. Okay, and Holly Golightly knows how to do that. She knows that, and I will point that out in this video series how she does it, how it works. Okay, I know it's worked on me. God damn it, it has. Anyway, so I know. Okay, so that's going on here. Okay, so she decides that if she ever fucking finds a place that makes her feel like Tiffany's, she'll settle down. Okay, buy some furniture and give the cat a name. All right. Now, she's very impulsive, okay? Holly Golightly's a very impulsive girl. She just does things. She's kind of a fly by the seat of my pants type gal, okay? And I know I'm quoting Pretty Woman, but that's another fucking derivative of this movie is fucking Pretty Woman. Prostitute with a heart of gold. Yep, there's another one right there, okay? Like I said, did I tell you this movie influenced so many other fucking rom-coms? Well, it did, okay? So she's kind of like that, too, all right? They even reference Audrey Hepburn in Pretty Woman. Remember, she was watching that fucking piece of shit movie with Cary Grant? I forgot the name of it because I don't give a fuck and I'm not gay. All right, so she acts all impulsive around Paul and stuff. She wants to do crazy ass things, you know. That's a very neurotic behavior, okay? You can tell that she fucking, she can't handle stuff. When she finds out that her brother's dead, there's this big fucking room trashing scene that she does that would have made fucking Orson Welles and Citizen Kane proud. I swear to God, some fucking just trash that fucking room, okay? Look at the way Jimmy Stewart did it in It's a Wonderful Life. Just start fucking trashing the room, and she does that, okay? And now, before I go further, let me just say this about Audrey Hepburn, okay? For those of you out there, Audrey Hepburn carries this movie. She did a fucking incredible job. She should have won Best Actress, in my opinion. She did a great. She outacted everybody else in this fucking movie. She really did. She outacted everybody else in this fucking movie. Okay, I mean, what the fuck? George Papard was a fucking piece of cardboard in this movie. Okay, but Audrey Hepburn fucking sold it. She carried this entire movie on her shoulders, and she did it very well. That's the reason this movie is famous, is because because of Audrey Hepburn. Her performance was great. I'm not going to take any of that away from her, okay? For those of you who think that I hate fucking Audrey Hepburn because I told you she's not that pretty, okay? She did carry the movie. She's got the personality. She can do it. The camera falls in love with her. I get it, despite the fact that they use filters on her face every time they did a close-up of her face, okay? But I get it. She carried the movie and she did do a great job. I'm not taking anything away from her as far as that goes, okay? She did really, really good. Her acting was fucking on point. Very good job for her. It's just the script is fucking stupid and the other actors are not really that believable. Okay, now, despite her demeanor, okay, she is barely getting by. Okay, she's barely living a fucking a very shallow existence. Okay, she has no money. She's broke, despite the fact that she's got a fucking who knows how expensive. I don't know how expensive those clothes are because I'm not fucking gay. Okay, but those clothes that she wears in this movie, those hats and shit, they must cost a shitload of money. Okay, those brooches and the fucking whatever the shit is that she puts on her hair, that shit looks like it's expensive. It's glowing, it's shiny. I mean, she's walking around like fucking Cinderella during half the fucking movie, and that shit ain't cheap. Okay, so despite the fact that she doesn't have money for rent, she does have money for that. Okay, which is kind of weird. Okay, kind of like Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City. She's got no fucking money. She's always broke, but she got $10,000 worth of fucking shoes in her closet. Go fucking figure. All right. She has the money for food. She's always behind on her rent. Okay, and she has no close relationships. Okay, she has no close relationships at all. All right, this is usually a problem with high-value men. Whenever they have a woman that has no close relationships, usually that's the problem with the guy. The guy can't commit to a girl, and the girls try to get him to win him over. That's usually how it works in the rom-com. It's the girl trying to win the guy, the high-value man, over to commit to her. Okay, in this movie they reverse that. So it's like he's trying to get her to commit to him. Okay, she's the one, the bird that cannot be caged. She's the one that keeps people at a distance, and she's very good at that because she knows how to flirt. And I will get to that once that happens. Okay, she knows how to fucking flirt, and she knows how to fucking seduce men. I will give her props for that. Okay, and Audrey Hepburn believed that I would have fucked her too if she talked to me the way she talks to Paul. Okay, because I know what she's doing. Like I said, it's happened to me before. Okay, and it works. It fucking works. All right. Okay. So in order to placate it's mostly females that watch this movie. I'm sorry, gay guys. Okay, but there's more straight women in the world than there is gay guys in the world. Okay, so the females relate to Holly Galati because of Audrey Hepburn. Okay, because she's a very relatable character. She's pretty, but she's not super fucking pretty. So automatically, she's relatable to most women. Okay, if a woman can fantasize herself as Holly Galati, they can see themselves getting a guy like George Papard, or they can see themselves romancing a guy like Juan, the fucking the Brazilianaire. Okay, that she tries to marry in the movie. Okay. Or the fucking the other guy, the fucking Drew Carey lookalike. All right, and she's very extroverted. She's Miss Personality. She's the life of the party. She knows everybody's name. Actually, no, she doesn't. She doesn't know anybody at her own fucking party. She doesn't know anybody at her own fucking party. She doesn't give a shit. She knows the right people who invite the right people. And that's it, okay? She barely knows anybody at her own fucking party, okay? She talks a lot. She's social, very popular. She's the life of the party, okay? And she spontaneously does things. Like there's a scene where she just tells fucking Paul, hey, let's go shoplifting together. Come on, you know, which is kind of fucking stupid because they go to a 5 and dime, which is the equivalent today of a dollar store. And there's a fucking store detective in there watching them, you know, seeing if they're going to steal anything. And they're aware that he's there and they steal 2 masks, 1 dog. He steals a dog mask, she steals a cat mask, and they run out of there. So they got a fucking store detective at a goddamn dollar store, but they don't have one at Tiffany's when they go to Tiffany's. There's no fucking security guard there or nothing. Oh boy, yeah. Anyway, so that's going on here. Okay. Now the book was published in 1958. Like I said, it was written by Truman Capote, a very famous gay socialite, okay, in New York, okay. He was in the publishing industry. He knew a lot of actors, a lot of Broadway connections, a lot of publishing connections, you know. He was very famous. He was a frequent patron of Studio 54, okay, in the late 70s, okay, with the most famous disco in the whole fucking world. Because he was friends with the owner, Steve Rubell, who was also gay, okay. So of course he never had to wait in line. He was treated like royalty at Studio 54. By then he was a lot older. Okay, he's been around a lot. He's a very famous gay man. Like I said, life of the party. He was up there with like Andy Warhol as far as a popular. You know, he hung out with the rock stars. He hung out with David Bowie, Mick Jagger. You know, he had a Cher. You know, basically he was what Elton John is today. That's what Truman Capote was. Okay. Back in the 60s, in the 50s and 60s, all right? And he was played wonderfully by Philip Seymour Hoffman in the movie Capote. If you want to know what it was like, watch that movie. Like I said, he knew everybody. He was famous for being gay and famous for being a writer, okay? He was very witty, very dry humor was fucking awesome, all right? Okay, now in the book, Paul was gay, okay? The main character was gay. He's not given a name, okay? He's basically just a first-person narrative telling a story to a bartender named Joe Bloom. okay, about a story about how he ran into Holly Galati. He tells him what happened, how they knew each other, and all that kind of shit. The book actually takes place in 1943/1944, so it's a World War II story, okay? But other than that, it's the same story, okay? Like I said, George Axelrod wrote the screenplay. He did the rewrite and turned everything into a heterosexual love story as opposed to a platonic gay love story, okay? Which is what it was, because in the book, Holly Galati was bisexual. She admitted to being a lesbian, but she actually did fuck guys. She said that just to get girls to not worry about her, okay? Just like the real Marilyn Monroe, okay? All right. Okay, well, I'm going to stop my review right here, and I will continue talking about Breakfast at Tiffany's. And I thank you very much for watching this as long as you have, and I will see you soon on the next one. Bye.